Good morning everybody, good morning, it's JPR and welcome back to another video. Ever since the invention of color in 1999, shiny Pokemon have captured the hearts and minds of probably more people than have actually caught them. They are among the most treasured possessions of any dedicated Pokemon player due to their rarity and oftentimes very cool color palettes. What I always found cool about them was that for a long time they were treated as more of an Easter egg than anything. Hardly any official material ever acknowledged the existence of shiny Pokemon. In fact, they didn't even have an official name until 11 years later when Pokemon Black and White finally adopted the fan name, which is revealed in an extremely missable, otherwise unimportant conversation with an NPC in Mezase City. But nowadays, it feels like the idea of shiny Pokemon has become far more normalized. A lot of the time, shiny Pokemon used to feel like urban legends that kids would talk about in the playground. Like the purple Mudkip that inexplicably showed up in little Timmy's Emerald cartridge one day, and he thought it was bugged, so he reset the game for a normal one instead. By the way, I've heard that story online way too many times. I know that not all of you guys actually had a shiny Mudkip. Y'all just keep stealing the same story over and over again. You ain't slick, I know who you are. But I digress. The point is, shiny Pokemon are seen in the public eye much more now than they used to be. Like if a million trainers beat this raid, you'll all get a shiny Zeraora. New shiny Pokemon are regularly added to Pokemon Go every couple weeks, usually accompanied with some kind of announcement about it. They're still rare, but treated a bit more nonchalantly than in the past. To illustrate my point, let's take a deeper look into the history of shiny Pokemon. So shiny Pokemon first came around in Pokemon Gold and Silver, and in these games there was one prominent shiny Pokemon that almost everyone should have caught, the red Gyarados from the Lake of Rage. The explanation for it being red was that it evolved early as a result of Team Rocket using radio waves. I wouldn't be surprised with the internet being much less accessible back then if a lot of players just assumed this was the only shiny Pokemon in the game. The term shiny Pokemon may not have even been known among most players. Because other than this one Gyarados, the odds of finding any shiny Pokemon was a measly 1 in 8,192, a rate that would remain constant for the next 3 generations or 13 years. While an individual shiny Pokemon certainly isn't the rarest thing in all of gaming, if you watch the probability comparison video here on YouTube about gaming, you'll find that shiny Pokemon do relate to a few of the top contenders, so this very low chance certainly placed them at a high value. But other than Gyarados, the only other easy shot you'd have at a shiny Pokemon in Gen 2 was the odd egg given to you in Pokemon Crystal, an egg that could hatch into one of 7 baby Pokemon at random. In Japanese Crystal, there was a 50% chance that whatever hatched from the egg would be shiny, but in International Crystal, it's 14%? And that's why I'll never forgive the Japanese! Moving ahead to Generation 3, you'll find that this is the generation that gives no freebies whatsoever. Actually, that's a lie. There is one freebie in the form of the Berry Fix Glitch Shiny Zigzagoon, a Japanese exclusive distribution for Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire players. Okay, it actually was given away in America too, but no other countries. The Zigzagoon, true to its name, was given away alongside a free downloadable patch for the Berry Glitch, which was an issue that caused the game's internal calendar to not function properly, named after the fact that the first thing you'd probably notice is the berry trees not growing as intended. But yeah, excluding that one extremely obscure distribution, you get nothing from Gen 3 as far as shiny Pokemon are concerned. No fixed encounters, no special eggs, not even any method of boosting the odds. It truly is the hardest generation to obtain a shiny Pokemon in. And the cherry on top is, if you catch an exceedingly rare Shadow shiny Pokemon in Colosseum, a spin-off game for the Nintendo GameCube, that Pokemon will only have a 1 in 8,192 chance of retaining its shiny factor upon purification due to a glitch in the game. So if you happen to be one of the blessed/cursed people who has one, box it and admire it forever while painfully knowing it can never leave your GameCube as long as you live. But things were finally about to change for shiny Pokemon in the 4th generation, as Diamond and Pearl not only introduced the Pokéradar, a device that increases your odds of finding shiny Pokemon through a method known as chaining, but also through a method that has been in every mainline Pokemon game since, the Masada method. Programmed into the game by director Junichi Masada himself, this method involves breeding Pokemon from 2 different countries of origin, certainly promoting the then brand new idea of globally trading Pokemon through Nintendo DS Wi-Fi. Doing so successfully makes it 5 times more likely that the offspring will be shiny, or a 1 in 1,638 chance. Now, you could argue that this was the beginning of the downfall of shiny Pokemon value, but I won't go there just yet. Yes, these 2 new methods certainly made it far easier to obtain shiny Pokemon, but it still wasn't exactly what I would call likely. The value may have diminished a little bit, but not by a ton in my opinion. Now, if you happen to catch a red Gyarados in Gen 3, then that's another story. It's basically worthless again in Gen 4. Thanks, Heartgold and Soulsilver, but otherwise, you should be alright. Though Gen 5 introduced no new shiny hunting methods, this is where I think the normalization of their existence started. As we mentioned earlier, shiny Pokemon finally became the official title after a decade of being a strictly fan-used term in this generation. And then, in Black 2 and White 2, a whopping 3 shiny Pokemon are basically given to you in-game. After defeating Alder's grandson Banga, he will give shiny Gible to players of Black 2, or shiny Dratini to players of White 2. And after you've seen every Pokemon in the Unova Dex, yes, seen, not caught, you will be able to access the secret nature preserve area where a shiny Haxorus awaits you. Kind of a bummer in my opinion, seeing as how it's not the hardest criteria to fulfill, and also shiny Haxorus is dope, so seeing his value drop quicker than the German dollar after World War I is a bit depressing. But wait, because Black 2 and White 2 introduced one other major contender in the shiny race, the shiny Charm. This key item triples the rate of finding any shiny Pokemon in the wild and usually stacks on top of other shiny hunting methods. But at the very least, it's quite difficult to obtain, as you must have caught all the Pokemon in the National Pokedex, God rest its soul. Like Masuna Method, the shiny Charm would also be a staple in the series going forward. So up to this point, shiny Pokemon, while becoming a bit easier to hunt and a little less unknown to the general public, still remained exceedingly rare and eluded most players. But then, Generation 6 said, "You want shiny Pokemon? We'll give you shiny Pokemon." Yep, you are reading all of that right. Not only did the shiny rate double in Pokemon X and Y, and has stayed that way ever since, but a wide variety of shiny hunting methods were added this generation. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this isn't the worst. Doubling the shiny rate to 1 in 4096 still doesn't mean you'll be running into shiny Pokemon on your average playthrough. In fact, I almost never have, and I replay Pokemon games like my dad replays the Pittsburgh Steelers winning their 6th Super Bowl. Which is a lot. I'm sorry I didn't have a more relatable simile. I'll actually play devil's advocate to the entire premise of this video here and say that I welcome all of these new shiny hunting methods. It actually added a lot of substance for people who played X, Y, and ORAS, which were otherwise a bit lacking in terms of post-game material. Shiny hunting was huge in this generation, and this is really where it started to gain a cult following on both YouTube and Twitch. Ironically, adding so many different methods may have actually boosted people's desires for shiny Pokemon even more. But of course, the bubble must first expand before it pops. Now I will say, I think that getting shiny rates as low as 1 in 200 with a maxed out Dex Nav is a bit ridiculous in my opinion, but otherwise I appreciated the wide variety of shiny hunting methods. It may have also helped that starting in Gen 6, it felt like Game Freak was a lot more deliberate with the color palettes they chose for shinies. I mean, if you just scroll through a list of the new ones, you see a lot less of this. In fact, Gengar and Garchomp, who basically had very slight hue changes for shiny forms, both got Mega Evolutions in this generation that actually fixed their shiny colorations and made them far more distinguishable from the originals. After all, if you want to boost the value of shiny Pokemon, just make cooler looking shinies. And that is something that Gen 6 through 8 have worked on considerably. Another neat thing about shiny hunting in this generation was the legendary Pokemon brought back in the post-game of ORAS. In Black and White, Game Freak began shiny locking certain Pokemon. Mostly just ones who appeared in cutscenes so you wouldn't think there was something wrong with the game if the Pokemon happened to look different. So for example, Zekrom and Reshiram were shiny locked in Gen 5, but they aren't shiny locked in ORAS, which means if you soft reset for these guys, then you actually have a pretty valuable shiny on your hands. So I'm sure a lot of you came to this video expecting me to say that Generation 6 is to blame for ruining shiny Pokemon. And given my track record, I'd say that was a pretty safe assumption. But nah, I fully respect Gen 6 for taking shiny hype to the next level. Sadly, I can't say the same for Gen 7 and 8. Whatever bubble was building up certainly burst here. I've talked to some other notable shiny hunters in the community, and they all seem to agree with me. While shiny hunting methods still exist in these generations, there's not nearly as many options as before, and the new ones just don't feel as fun for some reason. My guess is that it's because we lost some of the more challenging methods like Poke Radar and Chain Fishing, as well as some of the really chill, easy methods like Horde Hunting and Friend Safari. Instead, we're stuck in this awkward middle ground where the only method to hunt shinies is to kill hundreds of Pokemon on end or go back to plain old Masada method, which is nearly 15 years old at this point. Neither of these seem particularly exciting to a lot of people anymore. And the fault isn't entirely on the mainline games either, I'd say. Pokemon Go has also neutered the shiny values for a lot of good Pokemon with Community Day events and other miscellaneous specials. I mean, most people seem disappointed if they don't catch a dozen shiny Pokemon on your average Community Day, and eventually all of these will be transferable to Pokemon Home, so why even bother hunting them in the mainline games? There are also some cool shinies that you can now only get through Pokemon Go, like Darkrai, Deoxys, and Genesect, but the odds of finding them through raids is about 1 in 20. I can't really say those odds are anything to get excited about. But beyond just odds and ease of finding, shiny Pokemon just don't seem to have that same sense of mysteriousness that they did in the past. In the last 3 Pokemon anime series, shiny Pokemon are about twice as common now as they used to be. Shiny Pokemon also have appeared in 7 of the last 11 Pokemon movies. Discounting Ash's Noctowl, they had appeared in 0 of the first 11. They were in almost all of the spin-off games now, Mystery Dungeon, Rumble, and even Masters, you name it. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, shiny Pokemon felt special because they were hardly ever acknowledged by official material. Nowadays, it feels like you can't get away from them, even outside the games. Now, at the end of the day, shiny Pokemon are all luck. I'm sure there are plenty of you watching out there who have never even had the chance to see a shiny Pokemon in your own game. After all, it took me 13 years to finally capture one. I've gotten about 90 of them since then, and I won't lie, as long as it isn't in Pokemon Go, there is still a bit of a rush, although not as strong as it used to be. Shiny Pokemon still create fantastic moments even now. Only a few months ago, I hatched a shiny Phalanx on my first egg in front of my friend who loves Phalanx more than any Pokemon in the whole wide world, and seeing all of the life drain from his eyes as I happily danced around was probably one of the greatest moments of my college life, as sick as that may sound.
Show it to the camera.
First egg, everybody. Woo! Look at that. I am the Phalanx god.
You did it.
Yes.
And anything that causes that much excitement must have some value, right? Let me know what you guys think. Do you feel like shiny Pokemon have become oversaturated, or do you enjoy knowing that there's a more realistic chance that you'll obtain one? Or maybe you're like me and you just want to see them stop being so heavily promoted all the time. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.